Yes, hi, my name is Catherine Workman. It is my pleasure, actually, to be able to be the one to stand up here at the end of the day and give the acknowledgments to the people who created and enabled today's symposium. So first off, to my co-organizers, Roberto Delgado, Daphne Carlson-Bremer, who made this happen. Roberto, this was his idea to have a AAAS symposium on wildlife trafficking. He wanted this so badly and was involved with every decision along the way. So thank you to Roberto. To Daphne, who not only was, there's going to be a lot of things, so you're going to have to hold them all to the end here, please. Thanks for your enthusiasm. To Daphne for not only her great collaboration, but for bringing this really creative, innovative networking possibility here, where we can not only process ideas, but share ideas while we're in the room together, rather than just be talked at and think about our takeaways later. So this is the first time that AAAS has had a symposium that has used such a networking structure, and it's really creative and was really an additive component today. So thanks to Daphne for that. I also want to thank our many volunteers who've been helping us out over the past several months. To Chad Deere, it's also his 40th birthday. Happy birthday, Chad, if you're still here. Teresa Stepler, to Kate Barilla, Merritt Wilkerson, and to Nathan Gregory, Will Sander, and Bill Canapo for helping us out today. We'd like to thank the AAAS staff for their consummate professionalism and for making this whole process really seamless. And that's especially to Kristen Fusco, to Eddie Gonzalez, and to Kat Song. And then, of course, to our panelists. Y'all made this happen today, and we are just really pretty humbled that we were able to bring together such incredible experts in this field, both your technical expertise and your policy perspectives that you brought here today. We were able to have case studies from really individual country levels and also this 30,000-foot global perspective. And we're really grateful to both of those range of perspectives. We know that the ability to bring in such a high caliber group of participants is in part a testament to AAAS as a convening power, where people want to come and share ideas, and so we're grateful to AAAS for that. It's also a huge testament to the commitment of everyone who stood up on the stage today and gave their thoughts and their comments. You guys have crazy busy schedules. I'm looking at all the panelists today. They're literally going around the world all the time to high-level stakeholder meetings, and we know that. And so the fact that you all created time in your schedules to come here today is it's humbling, and it's really something we're deeply grateful for. So thank you all very much for bringing your comments and your participation today. We knew in designing this symposium that we are working in an already very full space. There are many organizations, government and non-government in DC, that are working on combating wildlife trafficking, and there's a lot of events around town that focus on this topic. So today what we wanted to do was kind of bring an added value in two respects. One was to focus specifically on the policy dimensions, examine past successes, past failures of policy, in order to enable us to kind of think about policy moving forward and how we can use some best use practices in the policy realm. We also wanted to show fellows, our fellow AAAS fellows, who are working across agencies, across fields, that wildlife trafficking is not just for conservationists. It's not just for people that care about wildlife, but the impacts of wildlife trafficking affect numerous fields, numerous agencies, and people working on things that they think are tangential or outside of the realm of conservation. No, it impacts you, and we need your solutions as well as those from the conservation community. There are a bunch of takeaways. I think Daphne did a great job of sourcing some of those from you. Obviously, corruption is something that we all want to continue talking about, working on, something that rose to the surface coming out of here. And I think there's going to be some future ripe areas for further exploration. And just so the audience knows, the organizers are going to get together after this is over, and we're going to have a debrief. And we're going to create a document that has key points from today, sourced in part with quotations from our speakers, some of the great questions that were raised in the Q&A. And that document is going to go up onto our website. So the place where you all registered today is no longer going to be a registration site, but a place where you can get additional resources. You can see the outcomes from today. It's also going to have a link to the live recording. I'm sure you all know by now that you were recorded all day long, and the link to that recording is going to be up on our website as well, so that this conversation can continue. We'll also link to some other things, like Mary mentioned, the Wildlife Crime Tech Challenge. There'll be a link to that on the website as well. And then finally, I want to end on a hopeful note. It was brought up a couple times that we don't need to all be doom and gloom, and I think that's really true. This is a pretty dire topic. There are some really gory photographs and definitely some depressing statistics, and I think it can become a little bit overwhelming at times to work in this space. So I think it's important to assess where we've come and who the we is who is now at the table as we talk about wildlife trafficking. It's not just conservationists who are talking about this and working on this and fighting against this. The first time I was confronted with illegal wildlife trade was in northern Vietnam in my fieldwork in the early 2000s, and the study species that I was working with was being trafficked across the border to China, as well as having its head and its hands in jars of brandy, traditional monkey bomb, to be consumed in the country. It was being talked about then, for sure, in the early 2000s. It was being covered in the media a bit, for sure, at the time. But nothing at the level of coordination and momentum that we see today in 2015. So if we fast forward to 2012, to then Secretary Clinton's call to action at the State Department, to the executive order that came out of the Obama administration, the creation of the Advisory Council and the subsequent implementation plan. If we go around to Capitol Hill, where we see this as a bipartisan issue in the Congress, the numerous ivory crushes from Gabon to the destruction in the Philippines to the United States, to the government pledges and sometimes government actions, including the ban of shark fin soup at Chinese state dinners, to the increased media coverage across the globe, including a really long investigative piece on the pangolin, the most trafficked mammal in the world, in CNN last year, which brought that issue to, again, a broader public. To the grassroots campaigns by students and young people who are asking us to reevaluate our relationship with nature and how we go about our consumption practices around the world. There is a building drumbeat of momentum that has been gathered over the past years, and I think we need to look at that as a hopeful action. The trade and traffickers are definitely more organized than they were in the early 2000s. They're more criminalized, they're better equipped, they're better funded, and the appetite for wildlife is arguably at its highest that it has been. But I would argue that we, and by we, I mean conservationists, law and policy experts, security experts, financial experts, forensics experts, law enforcement officials, health officials, investigative journalists, media, folks in the transport sector, we are also all better informed. We're better funded, we're better mobilized, the momentum has built, and I think that's something really hopeful to grab onto as we move out of the auditorium and into the foyer. So thank you all so much for participating today, and I would ask that you stay for the next hour and bring those rich conversations to the food and drink we have out front. Thank you all very much.